Hey guys, I thought I'd show you how I make circuit boards. I start off with a schematic or an idea, and then I'll enter all that idea into dip trace and draw a schematic out. Most of the time, I'll start off with a breadboard and data sheets and so forth, and I'll put together a circuit using a breadboard. I'll usually have 2 or 3 of them in process here. Here's one I'm working on. This is just a electronic dice using an AT-Tiny chip, and I haven't drawn out the schematic for this one yet. That's why it's still sitting here on this breadboard. But anyway, I'll start with that, and then I'll draw up a schematic in dip trace, and then I'll import the schematic into its PCB drawing software. And so I import that in and then manipulate the components and try to get it where all the components will fit on one side. And then when I'm done and I'm happy with the way it looks, I'll print off a rendition of it on this clear acetate or transparency. Incidentally, I print it in reverse so that the toner side will go face down onto the pre-sensitized circuit board material. And the pre-sensitized boards come in large sheets, and I'll cut them down to a usable size. Let me come over here. I've got one here in this package that I cut down. There's one more piece left in here. Looks something like this. There's a protective coating on one side of it that peels away, and then underneath that is a green substrate that is the UV sensitized portion of it. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll lay I'll get this moved up here. I'll lay my transparency here. I'll lay that with the toner side up. Then I'll simply lay the board on top of the image like this. And I make little registration marks so I know about where to put the board. Then all I do is give it about 90 seconds. I've got the programmer here set up here. I'll expose it for 90 seconds. Incidentally, if you have one of these, make sure that you run it at least about 3 minutes prior to using it. Those bulbs are cold and they need to be heated up. You won't be generating near enough UV unless you do a preheat on it. So that's one thing that I did learn through trial and error. So once the board has been exposed, then I'll take that board and I'll put it in my developer solution. And I've been using developer solution from, I'll get the bottle here, from MG Chemical, and that's this bottle right here. And it's a 9-to-1 mix, so you mix 1 part of this chemical along with 9 parts of water, and that's what's in this right here. After I'm done with this, I put it in a storage jug right here, and then I put the lid on it and reuse it later. This particular batch here is probably 18 months old, and it worked fine, so it's still working good. Then once it's properly developed, the masking will come off where I want the board to etch. So once I do that, then I'll rinse it off with cold water, and then I'll put it over here in this mess. And what this is just a simple crock pot. I bought it at the thrift store for $6.98, and it didn't have a lid, but it doesn't matter. And in here I have ferric chloride and water mix. I've used a powdered ferric chloride. It's a lot cheaper that way than buying the pre-mixed. But this batch here is probably oh man, it's probably 2 years old. But again, after I'm done with it, I just pour it back into a jug and put a lid on it and reuse it next time. So what I've got in here is that circuit board, and it's been in here for about 5 minutes, and you can start to see around the edges there where the copper is being eaten away, and where the green is at is where the black on the transparency was. So anyway, it's probably got another 6 or 7 minutes to go, and every now and again I'll just kind of agitate this around a little bit, and that's all I do. Some people have bubblers and whatnot. I tend not to use that. I'm afraid it may splash in my face and burn my face, so this stuff's somewhat caustic. But anyway, I've got about another 6 minutes to go, and then I'll drill out the necessary holes to put the components in their places. And how I drill the holes, let me come over here and I'll show you my tool that I use for that. Alright, and this, all I use is a Dremel mounted in the Dremel workstation, and this little guy is really handy. I'll mount my drill bit in here and then just pull the handle down and drill. That's just an old drill press. But what makes this a little bit special is the drill bits I'm using. These drill bits are made specifically for drilling into the FR4 fiberglass boards. If you try to use a regular drill bit, you'd probably get about maybe 3 or 4 holes, and then that drill bit would be dull and wouldn't be usable. So what I have here is a drill index. Looks like I broke a couple of them, but no matter. These particular drill bits were actually used in production in a board fabrication shop. After they're used for so many times, they're pulled off the line, and a company right here in the United States will take these and resharpen them and sell them at a fraction of their original cost. So I think this set right here ran me about $18 and probably about $5 shipping. So it's quite a bargain. And then I've got some others here. This was another set. These are actually a little bit smaller drill bits. And then, just for grins, I have another set here. These are brand new ones from China, and really I don't notice any difference between the used ones and the new ones. They both work great. And so I just put it mounted here in the collet. Luckily they're just 1/8 inch drill bits, so they fit perfectly in this Dremel's collet. So I tighten that up and drill all my holes, and then I may have to change this bit out for some other larger components. But once I get going, it goes pretty quick. I put on some eye protection, and then I have this this overhead magnifying glass and light, and I'll kind of place it down in here to give me a little bit of magnification and also a little bit of shield, because that when I get to drilling, the little bits and pieces of fiberglass go flying everywhere. Sometimes I'll mount a vacuum here if I'm going to do very many of them. So anyway, let's come up here and see what's cooking. And if I don't drop my phone in the acid, that would be not good. So as you can see, we are coming along quite nicely. We still got probably another minute to go, and we'll be ready to rinse this off and drill it and get ready for mounting the components in the holes. All right, you guys have a good one. Bye bye.